And there we go. We are live on another, what do we got? January 4th, Sunday afternoon here. I'm on the East Coast, so it's afternoon for me. I guess for some people it may not be all afternoon just yet, but I am going to pull up the chats as usual. See you guys popping in now. Oh my goodness. Every day. Every day. Do the same thing. What's the issue here? Upcoming, it says. We're always having technical difficulties right in the beginning. So, let's fix that. There we go. Cool. Cool. Oh, frick. Give me this. Why can I not scroll? Look at Penny, already sending some hearts. How we doing, Miss Penny? I can't remember if I've seen your name in here prior. One thing with my YouTube page is it's saying upcoming, as if we're doing like a premiered event thing, I guess. Let me go back into here. Oh, no, we're good. It's live. Cool beans. All right, here we go. How we doing, everybody? I mean, obviously, we ran through quite a bit of info yesterday and the day prior, so go check out those lives because we are talking all about weight loss and the No Sugar Challenge, which is the whole month of January here. And just because it's already January 4th doesn't mean you can't start today. And just make it your own 30 days. So you finished on February 4th. So that could be a nice little maneuver. If you guys don't know what the heck I'm talking about, send me a message or email, depending on what platform you're on, so that we can get you that free No Sugar Challenge sign-up sheet. You'll get a ton of resources, a ton of stuff for basically you to lose some weight this 2026 and keep those habits going, which is kind of half the darn reason for it in the first place, so that we can instill good habits and keep them going. So, but if it's your first time, obviously, ask all your questions. We'll be going over the last bits of the PowerPoint that we've been covering the past few days, actually. This is day 3. We'll finish off the 60 or so slides I have here. And we already have some wild chats coming into the YouTube page. This is a health question live or health-related page, so I'm going to answer health questions, although you guys love asking me political stuff. I also noticed what's pretty annoying is whenever I tap on the legs of this mic, it feeds back into the whole thing and it ruins my videos. So I'm gonna try my best not to tap on the little legs of the mic here. But I love this thing, honestly. This is like your regular like stage microphone, honestly. And if I took the cover off, you would be like, oh my goodness, I've seen a stand-up comedian hold those. So watching from Texas, where we coming live from. I'm actually in New Jersey from the Wellness Way Randolph. This is a health restoration clinic, all holistic care here to rebuild your body from the inside out. As you see, I know it's backwards for you guys, but the poster behind me, the fireman and carpenter, obviously with healthcare, we have a fire department system pretty well established to where if you're dying, you can get help. If you need drugs, if you need surgery, you can get those things. I'm here for health in the sense of rebuilding the body from the inside out, figuring out, well, why did that heart attack or stroke take place, and how do we rebuild the major vessels and all these things to make sure we live a healthy life and get back to normal, because your body's not programmed for disease. And if we can test your body more than a cholesterol panel and a CBC, which is like all I see from regular docs, which drives me up a wall. I run cash-based labs, so I just bypass all the insurance requirements, and we run a ton of stuff depending on what the patient has. Everybody's different, so there is no protocol here. There is no, oh no, I think somebody said an issue with the mic. For the YouTube page, I have a different microphone. So here, let me fix that. Wait a minute. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I know. All right, I got to get all buttoned up for you. Who is this? Joseph. Joseph Amos. We can be friends, though. I'm sure this is 10 million times better. Holding it right up here, so. Let me use you guys. Okay, Joseph, you're my audio technician. You let me know if there's a problem with audio. He said, cool. All right, we're good. We're good. I already see some questions coming in here. Is there any specific topic, or can we ask any question? It's really health-related topics. But you can say, oh my goodness. You can mention anything. Fancy mic. There you go. What the? Are you Amir? What does that mean? Love from India? Look at you guys. All over the world. All over the world here. Now, who I am, or who am I? I'm Antonio. Dr. Antonio. My favorite color. That's a hard one. Probably purple. I know. Weird color, but hello, blondies. All right, I'm going to get to the TikTok chats because we have all about Mila is asking some good questions in here. Jen says good morning and happy Sunday. Good morning, Jen. I know it's morning for you still. Us on the East Coast, we don't get... I tapped the leg of my damn mic again. My goodness. All right. I have very bad SIBO, and no doc has helped me. I'm very sorry to hear that. I've lost so much weight. I'm in pain daily. Okay, so some beginning steps. Obviously, we want to get some testing done here. I would like to see some food allergies at the very minimum. I would like to see a stool test, possibly even some blood work. I don't know your history or anything, but you could definitely be dealing with some overgrowths that are taking place within the small intestine, and typically those are bacterial. However, those can also be fungal. Those can also be issues with the gallbladder. That can be issues with the stomach acid levels and even pancreatic stimulation and secretion of digestive enzymes that are inhibiting digestion so that you can't break down and absorb your nutrients. And now the transit time within the GI is really quick. So you may be eating things and then you're like, I have to go poop again. What the heck? So I've been there. That's actually what brought me to the Wellness Way. Not, a specific SIBO thing in particular, but tons of gut issues, skin issues, depression, things like that, which all comes from the GI. There's just so many immune irritants that you can come into contact with. So send me a message on here. I mean, beginning steps, definitely some aloe vera juice mixed with apple cider vinegar. And that's just to help mitigate the lack of stomach acid there and the lack of mucosal membrane protection so that you can have some of those cells start to protect you from an acidity standpoint. So getting that acidity up so that you can sterilize foods coming into the system. And then the mucosal membrane support from the aloe vera juice, fantastic thing. Lily of the Desert, by far favorite brand. And you can make your own. You can do that if you have an aloe vera plant. Can't use the restroom for days. So both of those things will help stimulate some transit time. So you're on the other end of the spectrum, but you'll be bouncing back and forth between constipation and diarrhea until we figure out what is exactly going on. So send me a message. I do complimentary calls all the time, and I'll basically schedule you and figure out what we need to do, what the next best steps are for you. So people saying hello. Look at this, Mexico. People giving me compliments. The purple lover, speak louder. Is my mic really that much of an issue? Or do the people on YouTube just love trolling that? But turn your volume up. How about that? Did I eat breakfast? I had a ton of protein. Some medicinal mushrooms, and coffee. But that's it so far. Some ashwagandha today. What should I do when I have a puffy face? So we're getting some inflammatory response there. I would be curious as to what you're doing with electrolytes, what you're doing with hydration. Food practices recently, because if you've been eating a ton of sugar, you're going to swell up like crazy. Albizia, nettle leaf, and maybe some dandelion root will help. It's just you got to be drinking a ton of water during that, but all of those are going to help. They have some diuretic effect there, so just make sure you're drinking enough water. And obviously, I want those to be liquid herbs that you're getting those from. That's why we manufacture our own. So like I got Gymnema here, which we'll be talking about today, running through some of the specifics. I just want to roll through a lot of our questions before we get deeper into things. So, Dr. Antonio, if you don't mind me asking, what's your area of specialization? Health restoration, and from a holistic perspective, that's basically what I do. And there's mental, chemical, and physical stressors that can affect everybody. If you come up with another area that can be stressful, let me know. But as far as I know, those are the only three, and those all create inflammatory responses. They lead toward deficiencies, toxicities, and then you end up with a bunch of health issues. So there's one thing that every doctor agrees upon, and it's that inflammation is at the root of everything. So there's an inflammatory response with every single disease process. All right. So even when I eat a bunch of bread and fruit, fiber, it's always wet. Okay, we're talking about bowel movements here. It's probably something to do with all the alcohol I drink, definitely. You want to cut that out completely. You want to cut out bread. And the only fruits I would be doing are like avocados and berry sources for you. There's just a ton of fiber in there. All other sugars I would cut out. And that's going to be hard. So you're going to need things to help you adapt and cut that sweet craving down. So Gymnema, Oregon grape, things like that. I've been watching you for years. I finally got the confidence. Oh my goodness. Well, I hope that's not a true story. No bread, question mark? Yeah, food's highly emotional. So if you ask anybody, what's more emotional, food or sex? Guys are going to say it's the latter. But it is definitely food, because if I asked you to fast for a week, you would hate my guts. So bread is not going to kill you. Trying to avoid it, that's just a head game there. You gotta win that. You can't let food run your life. You're actually giving more power to food than you do your own emotions. So that's not fun. Why did I ignore your comment? Because it's just out of place, ridiculous. That's probably why. It's a health question live, so. Boki, how we doing? Popping in, making your rounds, I see. It was nice catching up. Heck yeah. No purpose to life. Well, that's certainly not true. Is sleep emotional because of you stay up for a few days? It sucks, question mark. Okay, wait. Can sleep be emotional? Stress can certainly affect your sleep patterns and can certainly affect your ability to go to sleep. There are certain genetic mutations that can definitely impact that. Is that, worth starting the journey there? I don't think so. I think melatonin, I think stress reduction, I think mobility, movement, some of the things that we're going to be talking about today will affect the microbiome, and in turn you'll get mental health questions or mental health answers from that too. So there's many different connections. Every single system in the body is connected, so you can't just exploit one. If you stub your toe, every single system responds. But if sleep is truly an issue, maybe something like alcidonia, melatonin, California poppy, all those things help get catecholamines down and then getting a good circadian rhythm started up. So from Russia, West Siberia, holy moly. Got another health question, ask away. Jesus loves you. That's right. That is right. Best comment of the day. All right. What am I cooking for supper? It's gonna be some chicken and nitrate-free bacon, actually. Turkey bacon. I never answered your question last live, Buki. Oh my goodness. Well, hey, you shove that question right into the chat, and we'll cover it, brother. Doctor, what is HIV window period for antibody test? 3 to 6 months or 9 months? What's the window period? That sounds like a quick Google search that can get you that answer. Obviously, that's a pretty specific disease question. I would ask an MD about that in terms of testing natural killer cells, CD4, CD8 ratios, getting your CD19 cells, all of those things tested, even 56. Obviously, some of those are natural killer cells. That is something that you want to do through blood, and that is something rarely ever tested by a primary doc. So we're getting some eye candy comments. That's what I'll call them, because I'm not sure how to address some of these comments, because it's like, whoa, TikTok. I'm not sure you guys know how sexual YouTube can be, so it's pretty alarming. But anyways, everybody's welcome here. Haters are welcome, everybody. Buki had right side tightness. Yeah, I even knew you meant right side, because I did see this question last live. You may have just popped out of the live in the meantime. But yeah, you got to support some gallbladder stimulation there. I would probably want you doing maybe even a little bit of our gallbladder complex, some Oregon grape, getting your sugars down, getting your stomach acid up, something like BT-NATL, maybe a little bit of dandelion root will help you in the beginning, but it's really about figuring out why these symptoms are occurring. You don't want to just play that guessing game. That's where functional medicine gets, a lot of trouble there. So in terms of the Dr. Oz effect and just basically putting articles out there for you guys to think you can cure something based off an article and just buy a supplement and make everything go away. That's not true. Everybody's different, so you have to figure out why these responses are happening. Went to the ER, got an ultrasound, CT scan done, said it was all normal. So you're before the disease or pathology stage. You want to still look at function and figure out what functional labs can we look at, like stool testing, like food allergy testing, and different pieces of blood work that can give us more info here. But I guarantee it's coming from a GI issue, and we need to run labs on that. So let me know. Obviously, you're on TikTok, and we're not at 1,000 followers yet, which is really annoying because I can't put all the wonderful resources and links and stuff I have for you guys. So you got one of two choices. Hit the follow button or head to my YouTube page or Instagram or whatever. It's the same name as this channel. So when you're a doctor, we'll be able to transfer a living brain to another body so we can reach eternal life. That still has not been done. Pretty cool. Still has not been done. Your brain, your nervous system is the most valuable system that you have by far. This dang plug and lighting keeps getting screwed up. There we go. Actually gonna grab some water here too. All right. We're almost caught up with the chat, so we'll go to our slides here in a minute. My name is Gabriel, and are you a doctor? Yes, certainly. Okay. Hey, Doc, I'm new here. I want to ask you something I've been stressing about lately. Fire away. Fire away. It feels better today. Can it not naturally go away on its own? Probably not. Probably not, Mr. Buki. Or Mrs. Buki. I don't know. There's no profile picture there. All right. What do you say we go over some material, finish off this PowerPoint? And so, covering, let's kind of recap some things here. Let me scroll back up. All right, we're talking about weight loss. We were talking about weight loss, calorie restriction, how to do that safely. We were talking about metabolism, and part of getting influence on metabolism is to focus on calorie intake and restricting some of those calories and, adding in a lot of protein sources there so that we can have more thermogenic effects to food. Lean muscle mass as well. This is where resistance training, and sprinting are going to be huge assets to everybody because those are the two easiest ways to build lean muscle mass from a physical standpoint. Then you have thyroid function wildly influencing metabolism as well, and obviously liver function. So this is why I covered this yesterday too. I do take thyroid glandular every day just to have some pulsation of the thyroid. So, there's enough constituents coming in and, building blocks to create and stimulate both the liver and the thyroid because those are the two organ meats within that glandular. Obviously, we have other things here too. With increasing protein, I don't think we eat enough. We talked about complete proteins. We talked about how plant-based things really aren't complete proteins, and you will be eating incomplete proteins throughout that process. How to build lean muscle mass. We obviously talked about increasing protein levels. We talked about the resistance training, the sprinting, and how those can influence metabolism because you're lean muscle mass, consuming tons of glucose, increasing the overall body temperature, and then having that reparative aspect of building down or breaking down that muscle tissue and then building it back up. And our thyroid and liver function plays a huge role in our basal metabolic rate, which is highly connected to weight loss in general. So healthy organs help determine basal metabolic rate, total daily energy expenditure, and this is from PubMed. An article here has declined over the past 3 decades due to declining basal expenditure, which is basal metabolic rate or basal expenditure is how much calories per day it takes to just run the vital organs. If you were just kind of sit on the couch all day and do nothing, what would that amount to in terms of caloric expenditure? So total daily energy expenditure has declined over the past 3 decades due to declining basal expenditure, not reduced activity expenditure. So obesity is caused by a prolonged positive energy balance, so taking in too many calories than you are burning. Whether reduced energy expenditure stemming from reduced activity levels contributes is debated. Here we show that both sexes' total energy expenditure adjusted for body composition and age declined since the late 1980s, while adjusted activity energy expenditure increased over time. We use the International Atomic Energy Agency labeled water database on energy expenditure in adults in the United States and Europe, blah, 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 and physical energy expenditure over time in males. Adjusted basal energy expenditure decreased significantly, but in females, and this is why men and women are different in terms of weight loss, in females, this did not reach significance. A larger database or data set of basal metabolic rate equivalent to basal energy expenditure measurements of around 10,000 adults across 163 studies spanning 100 years replicates the decline in basal energy expenditure in both sexes. We conclude that increasing obesity in the United States and Europe has probably not been fueled by reduced physical activity, leading toward lowered total daily energy expenditure. We identified here a decline in the adjusted basal energy expenditure as a previously unrecognized factor. So this is why we are going over the things to increase your basal metabolic rate, like your thyroid function, like your liver function, like your muscle mass, and calorie intake. Because if you're taking in too many calories, then you're burning every single day, you're going to get a waste, and you're not going to like the weight and the reading on the scale, which is the reading on the scale is pretty much how much the earth loves you, right? Sexual differences in energy metabolism need to be considered with lifestyle modifications in humans. So steps to take. Reduce your calories, number one, because if we can get that total daily energy allowance or amount down, or the total caloric intake, total calorie intake, if we can get that down, then we could start to influence metabolism. We could start to lower the amount of calories that we're taking in throughout the whole day, which will require less burning of our body from our basal metabolic rate and how much you fidget throughout the day. Building lean muscle mass. This is step 2. Resistance training, sprinting, eating a ton of protein. That is by far the best 3 ways to do that. Getting labs run on you so that you can figure out where these vital organs are starting to lose some function and impact your metabolic rate. And then obviously taking different types of medicinal herbs, which in another article here talks about herbal medicine and how herbal medicine can impact food intake. It can impact the central nervous system, energy expenditure, insulin secretion, glucose intolerance, lipolysis, lipogenesis, forcing those up and down, reducing inflammation, increasing hepatoprotection, which hepato meaning liver. And that's where we get a couple of these different things. So Gymnema, one of the medicinal herbs that I use on so many people. This is why we got this sucker 10% off for the month of January for the No Sugar Challenge. But supporting insulin production, promoting the growth of beta cells in the pancreas, and kind of covering or retraining the sweet receptors that are on your taste buds. Reducing glucose absorption within the GI and sequestering cholesterol in the GI tract for elimination. And then binding to sweet receptors, reducing glucose absorption, and can, provide some GI stimulation because it is technically a digestive bitter. And then Oregon grape. So obviously it's a digestive bitter as well, but a liver stimulant, a cholagogue, antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, and anti-psoriatic, but supporting liver function through improved fat and protein breakdown, including allergens, and is very much antimicrobial because of the berberine in there. But with all digestive bitters, it'll stimulate the pancreas, provide that, like I said, antimicrobial support, and a ton of berberine in there, supporting the blood vessels, supporting the pancreatic tissue and the rest of the body too. Even certain oxidation from glucose itself, improving the mitochondria there. Crazy cool stuff. Astragalus as well. That can help. Reishi mushroom. Tons of things there. Last couple slides, then I'll get to the questions here. But another article on turmeric in particular. So effects of red pepper, ginger, and turmeric on energy metabolism. Red pepper, ginger, and turmeric affect energy metabolism through various mechanisms. Dietary red pepper and its pungent principle capsaicin affects satiety and has a promising thermogenic influence. Ginger has positive effects on weight control, obesity prevention, and energy metabolism. In addition, curcumin, and there's 72 different types of curcumin, inhibits the conversion of pre-adipocytes to mature adipocytes. And then obviously turmeric being a heavy antioxidant, supporting healthy liver function, cellular health, supporting healthy joints, and all those things too. So, all right, we got through it. We got through it. Some of you guys don't like reading, but that's okay. Where is our TikTok page? There she is. Get her back up here. Okay. Mr. Sir, it feels better today. Okay, we covered that one. Is 5,000 IUs of vitamin D a good amount? I would like to see some K2 in there, but that is a pretty darn good amount there. Never under pressure. Thank you very much. You guys are so flattering. Okay, we do have a good question in here from YouTube, so... is that truly the last one? Okay, so this was the stress question. Doctor, mental health isn't taken seriously in my country, so I can't talk openly at home. I have panic attacks and strong fear of stepping outside, possible argophobia. How can I cope? So some additional things that we could be doing here. California poppy, ashwagandha, just because those are a great combination of different herbs there, but I would probably want to run a neurotransmitter test on you. And even if you're outside of the U.S., international, we can totally do that and even source supplementation and different things that will be needed to be done based on what comes back from those labs. But yeah, send me a message or whatever you have to do. No, that was from YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, send me an email. Well, it's in my Linktree thing. Somebody said eating turkey while driving. Nice. bum. Do I like Bugs Bunny? What the heck are we talking about here? Man, oh man. Methylene blue work? You know, I thought we were cutting out the food dyes last time I checked. Let alone a fabric dye, right? You know, are there going to be some benefits there? Yeah. I just don't think that there's enough long-term info here to just, you know, go willy-nilly taking that stuff. I think there are multiple ways that you can better mitochondrial function and supply great antioxidants to the body without having to do a fabric dye, right? So that's just my opinion on it. Other people are going to have other opinions. So point of discussion today, all things health related from a holistic standpoint, and talking about daily stressors and all those things. I'm not in the U.S., not anywhere in Europe, but still send you the email. Heck yeah. Be happy to guide us on what we need to do here. So, hello, Cube Guitar. How we doing? I don't know what that means, but either way, kind of quiet today for a Sunday. Nobody really working like crazy. And we're only 30 minutes in. Usually you guys are going crazy. 5-HTP worthy. There's better ways. It's just kind of isolated forms of things. I would like somebody doing St. John's if that's kind of what you're going for, and if it's more of the depressive winter blues that have got you going there. I think St. John's wort and kava tinctures in particular are going to supply you with tons of dopamine, serotonin building blocks, and even ways to get excess toxicity out of the system too. Obviously, protections to the immune system, tons of antioxidants. So those two in combination are really good. I would just want you getting those from good, safe sources. So let me know. Send me a message on that. But, you know, 5-HTP in isolation, I don't see the point. I want to build up more than just one neurotransmitter and figure out why it's getting low in the first place. And honestly, that has a lot to do with light reception. That has a lot to do with your phone addiction. That has a lot to do with your food. So, you know, testing for blood sugars and things and just getting all the body's vital organs to function at 100% is going to be the best way to improve a lot of those things, because your gut health determines your mental health. So people forget all the time that your gut is your second brain. So if you can constantly be working on that, taking in some fermented foods even, that could help as well. But I'm just very cautious on just pulling the trigger on a bunch of stuff, you know, because, again, that is the worst part about the natural world, is that, oh, let's just copy mainstream medicine, but just do it with natural stuff. That's not the right framework to be thinking about things. Doing okay. Thanks, Doc. How about you? I'm doing pretty good. I keep forgetting it's Sunday, but it is. So, yeah. But other than that, doing pretty good, yeah. My blood was super good and okay. Does H. pylori or gastritis have to do with something like this? That's going to be mainly GI concerns that you're going to want to explore. That's where I love doing something like a Genova lab, so that we can see the overall environment within the GI, figure out why it is getting inflamed and why you're having those responses in the first place. Obviously, the holidays have a ton to do with this too, but it is the immune response, it is the foods coming in, your mental health plays into this. There's so many different things, but yeah, we'd probably want to run a stool test and possible food allergies as well, so that we can look at food and what's been irritating the whole GI there, and then how to rebuild it back with different mechanisms depending on what organs are needed support to get that function back, whether it be nutrient breakdown, absorption, short-chain fatty acid counts, the overall microbiome, opportunistic infections. So there's a lot that can come out. Even parasites can be an issue. So, yes. Doc, how can I lose weight and keep it off? Well, all of January here, we are doing the No Sugar Challenge. So send me a message on here. I'll get you all signed up completely free. Totally free. We're just helping people lose weight and keep it off, which a lot of that has to do with sugar and overall activities like today's live and the two previous. We've been covering that in entirety. So if you want to go back and watch all those with me covering the slides and everything, that's on the YouTube page there. But how to keep it off? Yeah, I mean, getting thyroid function up, supporting your liver, getting did I say fiber? Getting fiber up, getting protein up, reducing sugars, so that you can get some caloric restriction there, and then doing some resistance training or even sprints to get more lean muscle mass going there. Obviously hydrating too. But okay. Let's get back up here. How long should a person fast to get him stem cell rejuvenation? So your body's always making those. It's just supporting your bone marrow and doing things like fasting, like you said there. So kind of that 3-day mark is going to be your best bet. You want to aim for 72 hours. Obviously with guys, less caution here than there are for the ladies. We do want to take precautions because you will deplete hormones like crazy. But astragalus, rhomanium, and some fasting in there, and you could do tons for your stem cells, and even taking in like a bone broth protein made from bone marrow and bone itself that gets ground up. Wonderful stuff that you could do there. Ancient Nutrition, great brand. Yes, I have been studying natural remedies. Some docs don't cure. Also have one more question. Is it okay if we fast for 3 days without any water or any kind of food? Kim, I would not for you because we've had the stress issue. So that'll make things worse. What to do if someone... That's pretty funny. Student preparing for competitive exams. Tips not to get stressed. Some ginkgo biloba and bacopa. Fantastic medicinal herbs. Maybe even a little bit of gotu kola there. Supply the frontal cortex to the brain. Dilate the blood vessels within the brain. Get brain-derived neurotropic factors going there. I cannot speak today. But basically all the things to supply your brain with the antioxidants that it needs, and then certain vascular stimulants and even neuronal regeneration there too. So you need a healthy gut. That is damn right. How can one leave a habit on junk food? We got to start to retrain the brain there. We have to get sugar down, man. That is like the number one thing. Get your sugar down. Take some Gymnema. Will a yeast infection ever clear up? Not on its own. Not on its own. Cinnamon gets rid of parasites. No, it doesn't. It's attached to your pancreas. What the frick are we talking about here? Hey, Doc, struggling with ED. Any solutions? Get your sugar down. Get your sugar down, okay? Start taking some organ meats like liver, like testicle, like prostate, and all those things, even heart tissue from cows mainly. That's where we get our source from. If you need specific sourcing on where to get certain supplementation, let me know. Go to link in bio. But getting sugar down. Starting to support, issues that can happen with aromatase, maybe even a little bit of passion flower in there, but Oregon grape, Gymnema, passion flower, and some organ meats. What is your typical daily meal schedule? It changes all the time. You should not have a strict or repetitive daily meal schedule. Should we do the no sugar challenge every year? Yes, I do it every year. I'll even do it a couple times throughout the year, depending on how much sugar I've been eating. But I'm certainly doing it. Freaking keep scrolling down past this stupid thing. Okay, there we go. Ooh, broke their toe. I would be doing some bone broth protein. I would be doing some boswellia and turmeric to support the reconstruction of that injury. And obviously bracing and doing all the right things there too. What is idea of diabetes remission? So rebuilding the pancreas, getting glucose down, getting fibers up, getting protein up so that you can basically get blood sugar down as much as possible, and you want to be in that 75 to 85 range. You don't want to be any higher than that for fasting glucose. I would also want to see insulin as well to see if we're developing insulin resistance, and then A1C, I want that probably under 5.3 at the very least there. But yeah, how do I feel about monosodium glutamate? It's fucking terrible. That's how I feel about it. Not knocking modern meds. I'm big on homeopathic care. DOs helped me when MDs couldn't. That said, how do you navigate social convos with people who view homeopathic care as hippy-dippy nonsense? I mean, I just point them toward testimonials, toward research, toward all the videos I do. But hey, it's a free country. People can think however they want. When people try and take on a new perspective, it's interpreted as an identity attack because the thoughts you hold and believe in are a part of you, which is kind of creepy if you really think about that. So, but, it's building a framework. Starting with common ground is probably the best way, and then taking them to higher ground. But yeah, beautiful question. I'm a student, so I sit all day for studying. How much protein? I would be going to thewellnessway.com, typing in the protein calculator, because it's going to be dependent on what your goal weight is and what weight you're trying to be at. So it's kind of different for everybody. There's no simple answer there. Cacao, super cool, definitely. Oh, 100% cacao superfood, ? Yes. Berberine worthy, ? No. You shouldn't really take things in isolation. This is why I love Oregon grape or something like golden seal, because they are the two highest berberine rich herbs on the entire planet. With all the other constituents in there, the way they should be taken. Just like when you eat an apple, yes, the sole ingredient is an apple, but there's tiny little ingredients called constituents that make up that apple, and basically, when you have all those constituents together, your body knows and processes all those things a million times better. When you say no sugar, are you still having fruit? Only a few kinds, really the fruits that are extremely high in fiber. So avocados and berries, essentially. Blackberries, raspberries, strawberries, blueberries, all those. So not all sugar, but a lot of it. Kiwis, no. No kiwis. Okay, where did we leave off over here? Why does the body create such intense fear during panic attacks, even when there's no real danger? It always drives me crazy. Because if you're in a constant stressed out state, either from nervous system involvement or from the adrenal systems, you're going to, your body hasn't changed for thousands of years. People don't realize that the response of getting chased by a tiger is the same response as a coworker pissing you off or stubbing your toe or whatever. It's just going through that response over and over and over and not getting that system to regulate, whether it be nervous or adrenal. And obviously there's hormonal connections there too, with progesterone and all those things, your estrogens and all that. And you could deplete a lot of them by doing so, and that will affect your brain even more. So probably doing something like a Dutch test is going to benefit you a ton because you will get some neurotransmitter readings on that as well. But yeah, good question there. But it's the same response, and that's why. By the way, is what... I've never heard of that company. How to remove stretch marks. I mean, you obviously want to work on the weight loss side of things. Castor oil can be really helpful here too. Even putting Gotu Kola on the skin topically and just getting the most variety out of the collagen sources that you can get. So, maybe doing that bone broth protein that I mentioned earlier. So you can get to all the different types of the collagen matrices. All right. Good stuff, though. What else we got? from India. Where do I live? I'm in New Jersey, over here in the U.S. So what's poppin'? What's going on? What we talking? All things health related from a natural point of view here. Why is it terrible? Why do I think that? I don't even remember what that was about. Oh, MSG. It's horrible. Horrible for your brain. Horrible. Thoughts on HGH? Horrible. In my opinion. Hi, sir. I'm surrounded by narcissists. What to do? Learn about communication, learn about self-mastery, and respond to those narcissists with not threatening, but just communicating that you're going to keep pretty much every conversation documented, and that will help a ton. All right. Okay, Doc, can I take vitamin D3, 60,000 IUs, once every 1 to 2 weeks? What all supplements do you recommend for a vegetarian? Should I take K2, MK7 every day? I mean, I would not do it in that high amounts, that spread out. I would rather you do like 5,000 IUs daily rather than 50 to 60,000 really spread out. It's just going to be a lot easier for your body to utilize it. And I do want you having K2 with that vitamin D in the right ratios. So you can direct calcium where to go, stimulate the bone metabolism there too, and just get the most out of it, affordability-wise and everything. So, yeah, you want to look for vitamin D3 with a K2. The vegetarian thing is kind of tough because we're still lacking complete proteins there. Maybe using Blueprint's vegan protein powder. That's probably the best one on the market I've seen. So you could do some of that. But I would have to see your labs to look at all the other reasons for the concerns you have and why that's going on. And if you don't have those labs, we would have to run them. But we could certainly do that. From India. So many people from India. Dealing with dandruff for 4 years. Did a blood test. Found out I have low vitamin D. 10 points. Oh my goodness. And ferritin. Taking medicines. No results. Having hair fall. Please guide me. I would want to see those labs. And we have to look for something microbially there. That can affect the scalp a ton. And possibly even some blood work markers on hormonal conversions that can take place. And start to irritate the hair follicles there. Just thin them out, cause them to die off really early. You know, I do like an onion-based shampoo. That's something you've been doing, you know, earlier on, and, you know, taking good amounts of vitamin D, but I want to see where sugars are at. I want to see where some immune cells are at. And we may have to run a GI test here. So that, because most skin issues are coming from the GI. They're usually not a skin issue in itself, so. I try to be healthy about eating, and I'm sure I get credit, but my acne never goes away. It's hormonal, but how to deal with it. I would want to question you on how you know that it's hormonal, and I would want you to get enough vitamin A in throughout the day, so maybe even supplementing with some grass-fed and finished liver. For... what else did we say? Oh, yeah, the hormonal aspect. I would want to see labs that were run to confirm that, because it may be some immune irritant that, or an allergen that you're coming into contact with that's dealing with that. Or there is a microbial issue within the GI, again, creating that same response. So, all right. Hello from Sophia. Love working with DC. What brand supplements do you recommend? Boss, the Wellness Ways. What tests can be made for a child with autism to find out if the gut is part of the issue? It certainly is. That is the very first place that I start with any, developmental issue or autism-bound things. Sometimes I'll run some heavy metal testing in there, but usually food allergies and GI testing is the way to go. And obviously looking at complete functional panels is what we need. because the gut is the second brain. There's 10,000 nerves that go from your gut to your brain. Food will influence that a ton. Obviously, vaccine reactions will influence that a ton too. Highly damaging toward everybody, but especially young kids, and that's why I believe a lot of those things happen in the first place. What is your opinion on peptides? Ozempic is a peptide. And we'll leave it there. Blue Zone, people don't have gyms or exercise, but they move every day. They get in the sun very often. Longevity is not about the size of your muscles. It is about organ function. So it's about your ability to adapt back to homeostasis. And people in blue zones certainly move their bodies every day. But I eat eggs and milk with vegetarian in quotes. So what is that? An ovo pesco vegetarian? I forget the specific names there. Yeah, I mean, eggs and dairy, they can just be common allergies that are being affected there. So just super common for me to see chicken, egg, and dairy show up. But yeah, this is individual based, so I can't, point toward a general rule with a specific question because all of you are different, which is the cool part. Hello, what's the topic? Read the title of the live. Why do you guys keep asking that? Okay, we'll bounce back to the TikTokers. Okay. How can I get my daughter tested for gut health? Send me a DM and we will schedule time and order those labs and figure out which ones in particular we need. Whether we do a blood draw or finger prick, and I would want to know how old the child is just to make things easier. Because I don't want to stab them with a big needle if we don't have to. Let's do a finger prick. Kids tend to like that a lot more. Especially somebody with sensory issues. It depends on the individual. They gave me keto shampoo to use on a daily basis. How to send you my blood reports? Please tell me. If you go to the link in the bio of my channel, you'll see my office email in there. And The Wellness Way, Randolph at thewellnessway.com, and you'll get, that is my email. How often in a week should we bathe? I don't know. I have no idea. Vegans only eat veggies. Vegetarians eat eggs and milk too. Yeah, there's different types of them. But I don't know. I don't know what food allergies you have. Watching from Bangladesh. Oh my goodness. What are you talking about? All things health. From a health restoration standpoint, are you a doctor? Yes. Can you pin your email? Yes, I'll just do that. It's in the, what's it called? In my channel thing, there's a Linktree thing where it has all this info, but, oh my goodness. I cannot type. Way.com. Okay, cool. Randolph at thewellnessway.com. And let's pin that sucker. Bang. All right, cool. There we go. That is my email. All right. Somebody says show proof. I mean, we have hundreds, if not thousands, of testimonials. So, Lane. Whoa. What's your name again? What's up, Lane? How we doing? I keep forgetting. I keep looking at the screen in all the chats, but when it's not going too quick, I could just look here. Bob. I see Bob has eaten his processed food this morning and gotten a ton of vaccines, so we're just going to kick him the F out of here. See you, Bob. Freaking soy boys, dude. I can't do it with the soy boys on here. Anyways, how we doing? Doing pretty well. Happy Sunday. January 4th. Lane, I hope the No Sugar Challenge is going well for you. But we got the email pinned in on YouTube. And we'll see. I'm going to do another 6 minutes. And then we'll round it off at an hour. So, also a doc from Bangladesh. Oh my goodness. What kind of doc are you? I'm a chiropractor and also a health restoration doc for The Wellness Way. All things holistic health here. Doing everything to figure out where the mental, chemical, and physical stressors come from for a lot of people so that we can identify why their bodies are becoming chronically inflamed, leading them to get deficient and toxic in different things, whether that's from nutrients being removed from their body from different inflammatory responses or creating a ton of excess. Sometimes that can be from toxins that enter into the system too. But yeah, and the immune and nervous systems are the primary systems in the body, so that is my focus point. Obviously, all of the other systems intertwine as well, but this is looking at things from a functional perspective, not from a diagnostic or medical or drugs and surgery point of view. So, not that I'm against any of that. There's obviously a time and place for everything. There's a fireman in the system for a reason. If your house is on fire, please call 911. Same goes for your health. But if we're trying to rebuild the home and redo the floors and the plumbing and the electricity, if you're following me on the analogy here, your body's a house, and I'm a carpenter type of doctor. That's kind of what we're doing here. But good question. Cold water makes me fresh, but I don't... Okay. Yeah, we have a testosterone issue there. What was the most valuable lesson you ever learned so far? That all human behavior comes from suffering and insecurity. I bet that's not the type of response you were expecting there, but it's true. It's true. Man, kind of slow for a Sunday, huh? Nobody working. What's with that? I'm getting kind of hungry to here, though. So we're going to rock out. Like I said, couple more minutes. Cold water versus hot water. I do like different types of contrast therapy. If we're talking about drinking water versus bathing in it, that's obviously going to be a little bit different there. I think, warmer water is typically better to be drinking, and bathing should probably be cold water. New Year's resolution, don't have any. I don't follow that stupid trend because it all goes away. I have basically a list of priorities that I do every single day. I'm a big fan, been watching your lives, addicted to them, love the voice, it is so comforting. Can you say WUWU? I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Bathing in all caps, question mark? I don't know. I don't know what you're asking. Am I Turkish? No. Italian. Fully Italian here. We doing? How are you? Doing pretty well. My goodness. Thank you, guys. Okay, that's unfortunate, they say. I don't know what that was about. Yeah, what is WUWU? Let me just look this up before I get surprised here. I don't even know how to pronounce that, to be honest. Either way. Ooh, a swallowed capsule without water. I got stuck in my throat. Oh my goodness. I would go and see a medical provider immediately. Nice. I don't know what that face is. Thank you. His name's in the top left corner. I know. People are like, what's this live about? It's like, it's right at the bottom. It literally says what it's about. Anyways, what else? Ignore the dumb comments. I certainly do. From Istanbul. Look at that. Fancy. I don't know what that means. Okay. Resembles Superman. Interesting. I don't watch too many movies, so don't say UWU. Again, I have no idea. All right. What do you say? I feel like that was a good round off here. We handled a ton of those questions that came in. Obviously, if you guys are looking for functional labs and a holistic approach to get your health back to normal and restore your health from the inside out, that is what I do here every day. And for complimentary calls, if you're on the YouTube page, You just go to my channel. There will be a link tree there and a sign up link for complimentary calls. If you want to jump right to an initial appointment, you can do that as well. TikTok, a little bit harder. We got to get to 1,000 followers. Frickin' come on. Smash it up. Smash that like button. Because then I can put a link tree in there. But obviously, you could just send me a message and we'll talk about how to do those things regardless. But or just Google the Wellness Way Randolph and you'll get my little office here. But good stuff. Thanks for popping in. As always, stay healthy, stay free. Have a happy Sunday. Thank you guys for hanging out. It was certainly fun. And watch that sugar. Join the No Sugar Challenge if you haven't already. If you want to learn how to sign up for that, it's completely free. We have Facebook pages, tons of resources on getting people to lose weight through calorie reduction and mainly getting that sugar lower. So obviously we're doing discounts on 5 or 6 different things throughout the entire month of January. And just because you start the No Sugar Challenge today doesn't mean you have to do only 24, 25 days of it. You can just do 30 days on your own schedule. So, but yes, Mexican Evan Peters. It's actually Italian Evan Peters, but good reference there. People say that all the time. And one last question. What's the best diet for fatigue? That depends on the person. It depends on why we're fatigued. That can be a digestive issue. That can be a hormonal issue. That can be an immune system response that is constantly triggering the system, leading toward deficiencies there. So you can be toxic in other things too and run into fatigue-like symptoms there. You can have mold in your home that you could constantly be breathing in. You can have EMF sensitivity. There's so many different things. So digestive issue. Okay. Then it would be by testing what foods you're allergic to, specifically in regards to IgG, food allergies, or immune responses, and then getting a GI test done so that we can functionally evaluate how to rebuild it back. Oh, no gallbladder. Okay, so at the very least, should be doing ox bile and some artichoke within a capsule there before you're eating, because now you can still make bile, you just need to learn how to secrete it, or you got to tell your body how to secrete it because you don't have a gallbladder anymore, which was pretty much the storage form of that, and you're becoming fatigued because you can't absorb your fats, and so your hormones are probably getting pretty low at this point, especially if you're postmenopausal or approaching that age, because cholesterol is the backbone for all those hormones. That's a damn good close off for the live. Rounds us off to a little over an hour here. You look like the sun on Breaking Bad. I get that one a lot too. I get Evan Peters and that guy a lot. I'm 73. Okay. So we're definitely in menopause here. And that's a big reason for the fatigue. And I wonder how long ago the gallbladder was removed. But hey, 73, hanging on the TikTok lives. My goodness. I'd wonder where you're from, where you live. I'm here in New Jersey. Just because I'm in New Jersey doesn't mean we can't help you. But send me a message on here. 2 years. Okay. So we're getting there. We're starting to get low in terms of our fats. All the way from Florida. Well, hey, Linda, send me a message on here. We'll be sure to get your body back to normal. It's just figuring out why we had that removal in the first place even. But we got to focus on what we do have and not what we don't have. So that's the whole viewpoint there. But, all right. Good stuff. Dr. Antonio signing off for you guys from the Wellness Way Randolph. But I'm always here for additional questions too, outside of the live times. But go ahead and send me your messages, and we'll be sure to catch up soon. See you guys tomorrow. Try and do this at the same time roughly. So, all right. Peace.